Okay, I got asked a question about something, and it took me a few minutes to figure out that I don't have to have special knowledge in this. I have some. Neuroprosthetic devices, implants in humans, appeared in the 1990s. They're a little bit like the cochlear implants in the ear, and hooking up, well, test equipment to the nervous system in your arm, or up to frogs' legs. I'm not kidding. The grotesque level of low-res, low-quality, low-precision stuff, all the way up to what we're going to be talking about. In July 2016, Elon Musk founded a project inspired by a sci-fi story group or a sci-fi mythos called The Culture. Something called neural lace. And this was Neuralink. Neuralink. It became a company. The claim was 1,500 input-output pins implantable in a rat. The system could include as many as 3,000 electrodes per array distributed across 96 threads is the word that was used. Each of these being 4 to 6 micrometers in width. The electrodes are still too big to record the firing of an individual neuron and or communicate with it. They can do only one thing, record or stimulate a group of neurons if you put them into the brain. The brain has an incredibly high density of neurons. It actually makes it kind of quasi-starved for enough space for blood flow. You always have to worry about, if you do an implant, you have to do it on the surface only. If you do a deep implant, you have to worry about damaging blood vessels and causing some damage to the brain. Transmission of chemical messages via neurons is impeded by a barrier-forming glial scar that occurs within weeks after insertion of an implant like this, and progressive neurodegeneration, attenuation of signal sensitivity, and no results. Meaning, when you do this, it will have a lifespan to it. You have to solve, first and foremost, the biological reaction. You have to find a way to do this. And he's already talking about making it wireless, and someone's going to make this into a meme about brain control and transhumanism, which he's also done. He's fallen into the trap of using futurist speak that scares the living shit out of people, while he's also talking about how he wants to do this to help curb the inevitable downfall of society due to artificial intelligence, which can't even drive a car correctly. His own. He makes. Somebody died because of it. You think dash cam videos are pretty terrifying. Wait till the cars drive themselves. A highly secretive group of people means that it's a non-peer-reviewed medical tech pipe dream by a rich futurist, period, full stop. Now, him doing these sorts of experiments with rockets going up or trying to land on the moon or Mars or whatever he wants to do, or throwing literally a Tesla into the solar system is fine. Human brain control interface research, brain-machine interfaces, HMI, human-machine interface. If you type in HMI, which I'm going to include in the title, you'll find a lot of people talking about it being evil. The human-machine interface is your keyboard and your mouse and your headphones and your ability to see a screen. It's how we interact with technology. Now I'm going to give you a personal note. At one point, actually several points in my life, I've lost control over an arm, a leg, or part of my back. And also had to do, I'm not going to discuss it, I think they call it TENS these days, I just called it the torture box. Getting the nerves to grow back against their will by running current across them. I can tell you for a fact that we have a gross, even though we're talking about 4 to 6 micrometers diameter wiring, we have a gross or stupid level of understanding about these things. We're ignorant. So, no, you don't have to worry about anything in the future. No, they don't have things 20 years ahead of time, because then every rich fucker in this country that was paralyzed or had a damaged arm or was blind would be fixed. A couple of people have had treatments to do these sorts of things so they could control machinery. That's about it. Until you get somebody having the entire arm not replaced with a cybernetic arm, but rebuilt by making muscle grafts and causing the nerve endings to grow longer and longer and longer by slow extending them until you get to the point that we've medically cured amputation and been able to rewire, you know, skin grafts to where the nerves work. You can't do this with a human brain or even do this in an arm, because all of this requires the same level of sophistication it would take to just replace a damaged arm or just try to regrow the nerve endings in brain cells and axons and dendrites in a brain. Currently, the only one we know of that works with that is to get stem cells from that person's own body and stimulate them to grow new cells. And then the brain just sort of wires itself as best it can. Or get a person to the hospital as fast as possible after a brain injury and just let them heal. 90% of the work that is needed is done that way. A friend of mine recently had a stroke. He was taken to the hospital and given clot busters within 10 minutes. He was walking around out here and has some palsy in one hand. His main complaint about it is his brain is interpreting ordinary sensations as pain, and he is gaining control over his arm and his face. And it happened in the central part of the brain, so it affected the right side of his face and his body, which means it's in the part of the brain that is literally evolved to adapt to shit breaking. It's the only reason he's lucky enough to have this happen. That and the fact they gave him clot busters to keep him from having any further problems with it. None of the shit's necessary if you improve the medical system. None of the shit's going to work until you get to the point you can literally just build another arm. There is a procedure. It's insanely expensive because we still make it to where you have to pay to be healthy, to where you can just rebuild an arm. Pieces of me are rebuilt. Pieces of you maybe. The problem with all of this is that you have to start from that point forward before you even start doing the sci-fi stuff. And we still haven't mapped out the brain well enough to know what we're doing, really. I mean, we have most of it, but not all of it. And yes, every one of these things either is something that'll snap off in the brain or break from anything just moving around, or something that cannot ever work because your brain will adapt to it by treating it as an intrusion. So, chronic electrode implant reactions, neuroprosthetics and neuroplasticism, the HMI, human-machine interface, the human brain itself, the machine interface we can't put in currently, and the nerve grafting and nerve regeneration we need to master before we even try to make any of this work. And the fact that 2 to 6 micrometers for a wire, a lead, a control connector, we're already at the point there where you're dealing with something that's the same kind of features you find on your average microchip, and it's still not fucking tiny enough. No, I don't think he's going to succeed at this. Yes, I want him to keep trying. It's a good research project. But him pontificating about how we're going to have all of these things work a certain way is stupid. And yes, people who are paralyzed and had damage had connectors hooked up to them to where they could control their environment because they were quadriplegics. But I would gladly have a set of sensors just stuck under the skin carefully, because that can be repaired after a while when it goes bad, not if. And make it to where my eyeballs control everything. I'll learn to independently control both eyeballs. Not that I already know how to do that. So anyway, or the muscles on my face. Even the stuff that I use for my eyebrow jokes. I'm not trying to make light of this, but the medical requirements for this are things we haven't got yet and won't have until we don't need these. There is no practical advantage to these things. You already have heads-up displays that look goofy on your face but work really well. No, there's not going to be a plug in the back of your head. And yeah, if I can do so, I will use a Matrix image, a meme about this. But no, Elon Musk is not going to achieve anything, even the stuff he's talking about, to get headlines. Yeah, this is like the Hyperloop. It's literally a pipe dream in that case. And in this case, it's a glitch in the